What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the Ox Talk. It is Monday, and I almost forgot what day it was. Time has almost stopped. We've been super busy running around, taking trips. Well, a trip. We flew from Jacksonville to Boston and hung out in New Hampshire and then back to Jacksonville in a matter of like 48 hours.
Yeah,
so
that
was very interesting. 3 a.m. flights, check-ins, and then...
Well, we went to sleep for what, like 3 hours on Friday? Was it 3 hours?
Yeah.
Well, Friday, like
Friday
2 a.m.
like 2 a.m., like from like midnight until like 2. Well, it was like 11 to like 2. But then we, boom, got up, took the truck over to the parking place, shuttled over to the airport, which TSA wasn't open till like 4 a.m. or something. So
I didn't even know they closed. That's why I was so
I think they're just
confused.
doing maintenance, so...
And that one girl was so peeved.
She got there and she was so mad. Her flight was at like
4:25.
Like 4:25, and she was like, "How am I supposed to get through TSA?"
Which in her defense,
She was like,
it
she got a good point, you know.
So you got 20 minutes, girl, and they
She
open
was in the
after
front of the
4.
line though, so at least she got in the front of the line first, you know.
Yeah,
Smart.
but they open at like 4:10.
Yeah, it was like 4:10.
4.
They finally opened, so that was interesting. TSA was pretty smooth, pretty easy in Jacksonville. I think our TSA isn't too bad.
Like Jax,
It's pretty chill. You know, did the whole thing, went through boop, x-ray machines, let them scan your body.
Well, yeah.
And then, boop. They make you take all your shit out of your bags and then rush you. Hurry up, come on, hurry up. And you're like, dude, how fast am I supposed to take everything out of these bags and organize them when you're handing me one tray at a time? Like, that would make no sense. Then you got to get through it and then put it back on, and then they're rushing.
I know, the one lady was like pushing me out of the way. I was like, girl, I still have like electronics to put on there.
Yeah,
and she was like probably like 50 or 60, but she was so rude.
Sheesh. Yeah, so that was fun. Then we got on the plane. Plane was fine.
We went to LaGuardia Airport.
Landed in LaGuardia.
For a connecting flight.
Connected a flight. Then they had to wait for maintenance on our plane because our plane wasn't working. So then they were like, "Oh, we'll get you a new plane." Then
also the flight. I know you slept through it, but
yeah,
it was the most terrifying thing ever because there was so much wind. And it felt like a roller coaster, and it made me nauseous.
Yeah, I just slept.
Yeah, lucky you. But yeah, so we waited for our flight, and then we got on to go to Boston, right?
Flew to Boston. Went to get a rental car. They got all the rental car areas together, and there's like 5 people up there checking people out. There's like 5 different lines. Some of them don't have nobody in them. Some of them got some people in them. And then it's like, all right, you wait in the line. And was that guy come up randomly? He just like walks up.
We waited 20 minutes, easily. Like there's so many people behind us too. And this dude with his kids weren't even paying attention and went in the other lane.
Yeah, and then the guy's like, all right, can I help you guys next? And then he's like, is there a separate line for this one? Like, I've been standing here, and I'm the only one here. And he's like, they've been waiting.
I said, I've been waiting for 20 minutes, as has everybody else. So, but he, like, literally had to wait maybe 5 minutes. Like, it was
5
ridiculous.
minutes, then we got to him, so it was like, whatever. We get
but
our
budget
rental car.
was ridiculous because, like, in order to have the rental car, you had to put your, like, ID and your card. Like, I tried doing my ID, and then you pay for it.
You had the reservation, gave them your driver's license, then went to pay for it, and I went to use my card, and they were like, oh, the card has to match the person's ID, and I was like, well, I have my ID, and they're like, oh, well, you have to create an account for you, and I was like, well, I'm just paying for it. She's driving. It's her rental car. We're married. Wow. And they're still giving a shit about it, so.
Oh my God, it was so annoying. I was getting pissed, and then, like, your card wasn't working for some reason, so then you had to use a different card, and I was like, bro, I was freaked out, because we had already been up since, like, 2 a.m.
Yeah, so I was already kind of cranky, but then we got the car, we landed, it was freezing cold, it was probably, start the day off, it was probably, like,
I think it was like 30.
30, a little bit under 30.
It's been 80 in Florida.
It's been 80 in Florida. So we left Florida, it was like 70 degrees. And then we land and it's like 30. So then we drive around.
We're like, oh, this isn't that cold though.
Not that bad. We're like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know, the night starts to progress, sun starts going down. We start driving, get to our hotel. By like 10 o'clock at night, it was like 2 degrees outside.
Yeah, with the wind.
And then with the wind chill,
like a hurricane wind.
Like 25 mile an hour winds, it was about negative 20 degrees. And then, like, we went inside for a little bit and was hanging out with the homie Soldani and his people, Zach and Sean and Mira. And we go to leave later that night. And, like, the cups of drinks that we had out in the car had completely frozen solid. Our suitcases we left in the trunk because we didn't think nothing of it. Those things were, like, compressed clothing.
Talk about my motorcycle jacket.
So we pulled out her motorcycle jacket, and it was compressed shut. And, like, when we opened it, it was, like, hard to open from all, like, the padding from the jacket and the material. And it was just like frozen crunchy. Solid. It was crazy. It was crunchy. But the wind chills ended up getting to be, like, a negative 41 degrees with the wind. And everything was just absolutely freezing. No precipitation, no snow or anything.
Thank goodness.
It was just kind of blowing snow around a little bit. If there was.
But what they call the weather, it was
a polar vortex.
Yeah, it sounds insane.
I guess coldest that they've had up there in centuries, like in a sense of almost the 1800s. They said on the news, and it was just like insane. I did not think it was going to be that cold. It was.
We don't own winter clothes.
Yeah, we don't own winter clothes. We got hoodies. They're like, go dress warm. I'm like, all right. I got a couple of thick sweatpants. I got like 4 big hoodies, some hats, some long sleeve shirts. I got there. That wind went right through my sweatpants. My kneecaps were frozen. I was like, oh no. I went right to Walmart and got a new pair of Dickies and put them right over my sweatpants. Didn't have any of the face masks. I mean, at that point, I would have taken one of those little blue COVID masks, bro. Like, anything just to let the hot breath just heat my face up a little bit.
And everybody knew you weren't from
here. Oh, yeah, everybody knew. Well, I walked into, like, one store, and this guy was like, hey, you look kind of cold, man. And I was like, yeah, no doubt. This is freezing, man. And he was, like, wearing a fucking, like, one of them Arctic fucking wind jackets with a T-shirt underneath it. He was just like, yeah, man. I'm out here every day. I was like, he said, where are you from? Florida or something? And I was like, exactly right. I am from Florida. And it is freezing. So that was interesting. And then we drove up through Hampton Beach, seeing all the ocean.
Houses, yeah.
It was really cool. Seeing an ocean with snow all over the rocks and the beach.
We'll put pictures in here so you guys can see what they look like when we upload it tomorrow.
And then the drive was amazing all the way up to the end of the mountains. And then up to homie's mom's house. It was like a really, really beautiful log cabin. And that was great. A great time. Great party. Had a good time. And the point of that was, so like, you know, I met my friend, Soldani.
And he's on this YouTube channel too. We have a podcast if you guys want to check it out.
Our other episode from the summit. So him and I had met a while ago, which we talk about in most of those other videos. And you know, you never know who like supports, and you don't, as a musician, an artist, somebody who's a content creator. I'm sure most of you guys probably do something of this nature. You know, you never know who's supporting you, or you feel like no one's really out there like on your team. And how important it is to have people that support you. You know, I met him. He has a passion for doing music and stuff, and I wanted to be there to support that. And it was his birthday, so he invited me out for his birthday. And, you know, how can I say no to that? He's been massively supportive of my whole journey, shares all my music, you know, just tells everybody about our podcast. Like, he's a real one. And so, you know, I go up to support that. and his birthday, and you have a good time, and you know, you've hit goals, you've achieved things, and you usually want to like share those things with people and post about it and tell people how happy you are. And I know in like our line of work, sometimes it's seen as like bragging, or it's seen as like, you know, you're out flexing and this and that because of the things or the travel you're doing, or like, you know, like people automatically put two and two together. They're like, oh, they're taking trips. Oh, that costs money. Oh, that does this. And it's like, they assume that like you owe them the time or money, or like, they're like, oh man, you didn't help me do this, or you didn't donate money to my cause, or you didn't give me anything, or you didn't call me. And like, I know a lot of you guys probably get that, and like go do and enjoy things, and like sometimes probably can't share it because you're like, oh man, you know, who's gonna talk shit, who's gonna say what. But those are like some hurdles that we as creators have to be okay with enduring, and like getting over and putting them into perspective, setting our standard boundaries, but being comfortable enough to enjoy what we do and our accomplishments, and celebrating our accomplishments, you know. Sometimes, you know, there's a phrase, you know, you got to stay humble. It's I have a song, Staying Humble, Hustling Hard. But at the same time, like, we also want to enjoy all of our hard work that we're doing. So, you know, don't feel like sometimes it's bragging about the things that you're doing, that you're trying to show the world that it's paying off and that it's working. And it's the new side of the journey that you're taking, and celebrating that.
Because your real friends will appreciate
your real friends will appreciate it,
stuff,
you know?
And that's why it was good to see everybody up there.
Yes, and it was really good to see like the people that support, and like from a distance, you know, like they're not in my hometown, they're not in the city I live in, like that's my new hometown, you know.
Wait, you gonna move up there?
No, I'm just saying.
New hometown.
No, I was saying it's in Florida.
No,
like, because like my hometown's Erie,
yeah,
where I was raised, but then, you know, I got my hometown here, where I'm now from.
Shoot, I was gonna say I like going up there, but I can't live with that cold.
I definitely cannot. No way, dude. No way. Too cold for that. But my point was the support is greatly appreciated from all the people that we meet. You know, you never know who supports you in your journey, but and where your reach is. But just know, like, you should always pursue it. You know, it's your passion, it's your dream, the things that you find and want to make change into your life. You need to step forward and go and do those things, and don't be scared to celebrate your change, your accomplishments. You know. I know a lot of people that are on like getting sober and doing things like that. You know, I've been doing my thing for a long time. I haven't really touched too much about it in any of our episodes, but you know, I'm 10 years clean off of hard drugs, and several years clean off of getting drunk on alcohol. I rarely have a drink. I do have the power, and I believe that even if I am sober and don't want to drink or do any of those things, I do believe that the ability to have one in a social environment and not feel uncomfortable, not feel like you're going to relapse, not feel like it's a need and an urge, and not feel the necessity to get wasted just because you had a drink. I still find that in my stage of life, after being this sober for 10 years, I feel like it's okay to still be sober and still have one of those things, you know, as long as you're not indulging like overboard and making it a habit of doing those things. I feel like you can still claim to be in that sober realm, mainly because, you know, a lot of the times when you're sober, you're changing and you're doing workouts and you're changing routines and drinking more coffees, or you're drinking energy drinks, or you're supplementing this habit for this new habit. And it's like, even good habits of like eating and doing all those, like, sometimes are just distractions and ways to deal and cope with things. So it's like, I feel like once you've mastered not feeling like you have to depend on using a substance, that it's totally okay to be able to like relax and enjoy something if you choose to, and still not feel like you're relapsing or going backwards, you know. But the support from that and the support from making all these changes and choices and the things that you're doing in life are important to embrace those and celebrate those. Like, you can't feel like, hey, every time I say I'm this long sober, I feel like I'm insulting people who are trying but aren't that far, or like discrediting people for what they do. Same as like people shouldn't discredit how far some of us have gotten with our sobriety and how we've managed to make our change and our life better for ourselves. So like knowing that everybody's on our own path, everybody kind of reacts a little bit different, has a different perspective on it, and it eases into it at their own pace. But knowing that it's okay to celebrate every one of those tokens, even though they're not like as great as the next or the master step. You know, if you're like, oh, I'm trying to like change my life and I finally put down this, but I still drink a little bit. It's not like, oh, you're a piece of shit because you still drink a little bit. It's like, hey man, that's that first step. Like, congratulations, be proud of that. Like, support people of that, you know, when they're in those positions as they grow, because then that's going to take them to the next step. Then it's cutting that out, and then it's not doing this, and then it's changing this, and it's getting here. And every time it's like they're better and better. So, you know, make sure you support that. Continue. If you have friends that are in those situations, make sure you reach out to them and help them out, talk to them, let them know that you support their journey, and that you're there for them. Don't peer pressure them into stuff like that too, into changing their ways or you know, making them feel uncomfortable. But feeling uncomfortable is also one of the next kind of points that I was making. You know, make yourself, every once in a while, go into uncomfortable situations. I haven't been up north in years. I didn't know if, you know, how I was gonna survive in the cold up there, but it also made me wanna go into that uncomfortable situation and kind of boom, explore that and take that journey. And then like, I met a lot of great people out of that situation. So like, don't forget to also step out of your comfort zone, try new things, get into a new headspace, you know, be open-minded and continue growth, overcoming hurdles. I know a lot of us have people through our life, friends, stuff like that, that we're connected to, that we've been connected to for years, that sometimes are kind of like crabs in a bucket, you know, like you're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to get over to freedom, you're trying to get to the top, and they just keep pulling you down because they're trying to go there with you, but then like aren't really doing the extra work to get there in the same place. And sometimes as an artist, you know, a tattooist, musician, any kind of artist that bases their job on change and progression and consistency, that's stuff that you have to address and put like boundaries and guidelines on your friendships, on who's going to be in and out of your life in your direct circle, who's going to be putting the energy into your journey and helping you succeed to be the best you. And knowing that like you being the best you is obviously going to help benefit them, because it's going to take them with you and be in their circle if they choose to support you and be in that circle. But when people, you know, support you but really don't, you know,
and you
complain,
can't really see it,
and you can't see it, you know, but they say they do, you know, but you also have like the people that like show up but always make it an issue, you know, people that are like, oh, I gotta do this to come and do that, oh, I can't do this, but then want you to do all kinds of stuff for them, or give them discounts of your services at your store, or, you know, hook you up with free tickets to your show, or give you, you know, all kinds of stuff, man. And like, you have to be able to know what that looks like, how it is, how to be treated. You got to put your guidelines on and your stipulations on saying, no, you got to put effort into being here. You have to do these things to be in my journey, because if not, it's going against your energy that you're trying to bring and make the change into your life. And it's like, if they can't accept that and like be a part of that on your guidelines also, then like sometimes you have to put those standards out there and be like, yo, like,
And watch out for like manipulation,
Manipulation, absolutely.
It's like the same thing every single time. I feel like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know,
like guilt tripping,
people making you feel bad because you went and did this, but you didn't call me, and oh, you didn't, and it's just like, dude, like, if people don't talk to you on the daily basis, you don't owe them anything. You know, if people don't reach out to you every month and talk to you and ask how you're doing, but then like expect you to do
or even share your post or anything.
I mean, like, dude, your support system is so important.
Right, and like stuff.
Your support system is just so important, and like you have to show that. You have to give your flowers to people. You have to be supportive of your friends. You know, show up, buy things from them, help them out with their business. It means the world to them. It helps them go. It makes their passion become a reality for them, and some of those people, that's their lifeline, you know. And if you are being a supporter of that, I appreciate it. If you're a supporter of one of your friends like that, continue to do so. Do it even more. Just know that it comes with love and respect, and everybody will fucking thank you, you know. Keep that up.
How would you explain like navigating through difficult talks? Because you're talking about like setting boundaries, and like, you know, sometimes your friends you had before as you grow aren't like growing with you. Like, how do you have those conversations
I mean, for me, at the end of the day, it's all love, you know. I wish the best for every person that I come in contact with, even if they've really kind of like done me wrong. I don't wish them harm. I just wish them better for their life and not to like redo the same things, right? I learned that like holding grudges on people is like letting people live in your head rent free. It's not going to do anything but stop you from progressing. It's, in the end of the day, they still win because they're still stopping. They're still being the crap in the bucket. They're still stopping you from progressing. They're still keeping you in a state where like you can't think, you can't work without, like, you can't post, you can't say something because you're worried about, like, that's super toxic. And when I have like conversations with people like that, I just let them know, like, dude, like, realistically, it's like, you can either be on the journey, communicate with me, or you can continue to try to have this rude perspective that you're trying to portray on me that I don't want to deal with. And like, I just can't have that, unfortunately. And you have to know that, like, at the end of the day, like, you're always going to be okay. People do come and go out of life. If they want to retether and come back later, then like they'll contact you, and they hopefully mind their P's and Q's about it, you know? Like, you shouldn't have to walk on eggshells with nobody, obviously, but at the same time, like, you just can't let people act however and continuously take and do and say, and like, you know, without putting that bridge up there. You can't be like, hey, I'm not doing that.
Do you think that, like, in order to grow, you have to move away from your hometown, or no?
Absolutely. I believe in your hometown, you know, people see and have an image of you. They know you. Your past is there. They're gonna have whatever painting they see of you.
Don't allow a new identity.
Yeah, you definitely won't be able to really see that new identity. You know, when you get on, and when you get on stage, people are like, oh, I know him, and they think they know you. They call you by your first name. They don't call you by what you're supposed to go by, which makes everyone else think it's okay to do the same thing, and then which totally just discredits all the work you've put into making your work and your name and your stage presence or your artist presence, you know. And being in your hometown, definitely, like, it's where you build like a solid little fan base. You have, like, you know, you're starting your roots, but like your reach is going to get way outside all over America if you choose to travel, move away, be from a different place, experience a little bit of different culture, live somewhere so you know a little bit more than just your hometown knowings, you know.
So I know my hometown's so small and like Christian based that like everybody knew me as like the quiet, good girl that never did anything. And it's like I could never be like my authentic self or like experience anything because everything was so like cookie cutter.
Right.
And it's like I didn't really know the whole world. I was definitely sheltered because like Kentucky is really nice and people are nice, but you get out and you're like, oh damn.
Yeah.
So how was yours like growing up in your hometown?
I mean, my hometown was small. It was like a fucking science experiment. I'm pretty sure. Like they would give kids fluoride
tablets.
And before you went to the bathroom, open your mouth, eat your Cheerios. You're like, whoa, this is wild. But it was small, you know. I mean, there was just lots of drama. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody had.
Were you a good kid or a wild child?
No, definitely wasn't. I was pretty wild. I would get into a lot of trouble. I mean, we had fun, you know. We were kids. We would allegedly, you know, you borrow cars in the summertime or in the wintertime when it was cold and you had to go to school, you know. Just stupid stuff. Drive cars around and run into trash cans. We put them up in the street when it was snowing. We drift into them and play bowling with the car, you know, and go drifting in the snow, stuff like that. It was always fun. Different crowds of people. There was lots of just people fighting each other all the time. There was lots of bars.
So people always see you as like the crazy party animal.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part. I mean, I was always drinking. I was always out partying, just being reckless, you know, until I became 25, you know. And then once that hit, then it was like, and I moved away and I learned like different culture, different stuff. I didn't need to drink for all the time. I wasn't needing to party. I wasn't needing to do any drugs. I like none of that stuff, you know. I went through a lot of trials, errors, a lot of traumas that I felt alcohol and drug abuse was going to fix that. But at the end of the day, I would still wake up and kind of have this like feeling of regret because I was still upset about the same things. The people still treated me the same. They made a picture and of who I was and what they thought of me because of how I was behaving. But reality was I was that person at that time. And I was kind of doing the same thing that all my surroundings were doing. But like, even though they were all doing the same things, you just like felt like you were like painted out to be the worst of it. And like, even though you did the same thing as them, it's like they would trip on you for doing the shit that they did to you, you know? So it was like very hypocritical of a lot of stuff. Like you end up getting really guarded by that. You end up getting really like irritable fast, you know? A lot of people are like, oh man, I got like, you know, a lot of these issues. I got like, I have anxiety. I have this depression. I have all of these things. And a lot of that stirs from just being in a really unhappy environment with people that don't support, that people fake support you or like downplay what you're trying to do. That all creates that energy that makes depression, that like makes you not feel like you're good enough, like makes you feel like you can't talk about it and you can't go out in places because people are going to treat you a certain way. Like then your anxiety kicks in, you know. And then all of a sudden for most of us that are in those situations, after the anxiety and some of that depression kicks in, you're kind of like, man, what do I do? Oh, I think I need to mask it with drinking, or I need to mask it with like getting really fucked up, which then and turns into you going and doing stupid shit, becoming an ass, you know, making that picture that everyone already painted that you think that that's what they think of you, that you turn into it, you know? So it's like, the more you're in that kind of city and don't leave and don't find something and don't take a chance to start anew and you can become comfortable and complacent in those places, you're going to continuously have those feelings and feel limited by those, you know? And I feel like it wasn't until after I was able to leave and establish myself in a new place, doing business, starting a new image of myself, not as an alcoholic, not as a drug addiction and stuff. Like, I was able to be like, no, I'm this person, I'm doing these things, my intention is good, my intention of what I want to do and who I want to be and how I want to change is pure, is the right way, and it is who I am, not who I was.
And a lot of times when you have like good intention, I feel like when people say you don't, it's just like a projection of like where they are and has nothing to do with you.
Well, that's like kind of like with going back to being humble. It's like being humble really is almost kind of like negative to almost say on yourself, I guess. Like the more I learned about it, and really it's like calming down my excitement for my accomplishments due to your insecurity and envy of your lack thereof. Because it's like, why should I have to not be happy about me making a change, becoming sober, putting down one thing, changing my life, moving away, starting a new career, taking that leap of faith? Why should I calm down how happy I am for each step of those goals, how happy you are for each step of those goals that you're making? Because the person you're telling it to feels like you're bragging, flexing, you know, throwing it in their face. It's like, no, I'm telling you the changes I made to hopefully inspire and motivate you to make some of those kind of changes for yourself and see what kind of difference it can make in your life. And building value on yourself to give back to the world, to give to those around you. So that way, at the end of the day, when someone's like, oh, and they say your name, behind it follows all the great things that you do because of who you are, how happy you are, the fact that you have the opportunities to do those things, the fact that you finally made yourself financially able to provide those things when asked upon, and are happy that you finally have made it there. And you should be allowed to celebrate all that, you know, like without feeling bad that somebody else is going to feel offended that you are making it to where you're making it, you know. I feel keeping it very 100 and open about it. It's like, you know, celebrate your wins every day. They tell us to be successful, you should be celebrating 3 wins every day. And then the 3 things that you're grateful at night before you go to sleep, you should be telling those to yourself every day as affirmations.
Yeah, because if you're being humble, you're like keeping in all the good stuff, but then like you should be talking about like the positivity and the positive affirmations. Absolutely. Saying that's why they do that, saying like I'm smart, I'm capable, I'm whatever. You're supposed to be telling yourself that every day. But technically, if you're humble, you shouldn't be saying that, which is
right.
Stupid.
So it's like an oxymoron, you know? And it's like, if you, okay, so here's an example. If I was to have a bunch of money and I went out and I was just like, oh, I'm going to go out and videotape me giving it to people, right? One, people would be like, oh, you're just doing videotapes for attention. But at the same time, it's like, no, I'm doing videos so that way I can show other people nice deeds that they can do that'll change lives, get the reactions, so that way you can show people that perspective of what it does for people and hope you can influence others to do the same. But then other people are going to say, oh, you're only doing it for attention. Then it's like, then there's a group of people that would tell you, oh, must be nice to have a bunch of money to just give away to people. They didn't call me and give it to me. I've known them since they were 2 years old. It's like, when's the last time you've talked to them? Do they owe you to give that to you because you knew them when they were 2 years old and you like babysat them when they were 4? You know, like, no, they don't owe you that. But they would still feel like you're rude because you're going and giving money out and didn't call them and help them. And then you have the people that are genuinely happy for what you're doing, that see it and they go, oh, dude, that's awesome. I should go donate some money. I should feel better about helping somebody out because a couple of bucks makes a difference. And you got to figure out which those people are, where those people are in your life. And
because I feel like if you're like nice and positive, they like react how you said. But if you're sad and complaining, they're like, you're complaining too much. You should be happy for your accomplishments. And it's like, there's no middle ground. Like,
100%. Okay. There's really no, like...
people just complain to complain. They really don't care.
And you start to realize that, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, you know, when I'm super positive and I'm like, yeah, man, like, dude, you got to be better. People are like, dude, you're super over positive, man. Too much. You gotta, like, you're too much. Like, you gotta be realistic. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah, they think you're like a dreamer, like in your head.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, dude, like I'm just being positive over a situation. You know, I look at the facts, break the facts down, and then like, I'm happy, I'm okay with it. But then some people still be like, you're just being too happy. But then if I'm like negative and I'm like, oh man, they'll be like, well, it could be worse, man. Maybe you should feel better. It's like, what do you guys want me to do? Do you want me to be happy? Do you want me to be sad? Do you get like, you guys like tell me tone it down? You tell me to, and I know a lot of people probably go through that where they're like, I don't know which one I should do. And then like, you know, it just creates this like armed persona where you gotta be kind of like judging and attackful and always on defense. And then when people talk to you or text you, you take it out of context, and it's like, but you don't want to get on the phone call so you can hear the energy and the happiness behind the conversation. You'd much rather just text, you know? So it's like, get out of those uncomfortable situations, or get into those uncomfortable situations. Get on the phone. Do a fucking video chat with your homies, you know what I mean? Talk to people, but like communicate and be supportive. Fuck. I don't know where I was going.
You gotta throw it to our sponsors real quick.
We do gotta throw it to our sponsors.
We'll be back in a minute.
We'll be back in a minute. Go to shoptheox.com and spoil yourself with some Valentine's sweets. Skirt, skirt. Our second sponsor of the day is Oxford Ink Tattoo, where you can go to our historical downtown Jacksonville building and get a new tattoo and a custom piece of art made up, designed directly for you. We are back on that, but we've been here on that, so, you know.
He's pointing to the live.
We're on the live stream.
Yeah.
Say what up. So.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts.
Oh, final thoughts. As you can tell, there's usually not a lot of them by the end of this thing. Final thoughts in there.
So pretty much like what you're talking about, elevating yourself and
elevate. All right, double down, level up. Double down, level up.
What does that mean?
You need to put all your shit right in front of you. Look at everything you got. Ask yourself, are you where you want to be? Are you ready to live that way forever? And can you continuously do what you're doing every day? If not, then what kind of things can you do to make a change in your life?
And we're downtown, so excuse the ambulance sounds.
It's distracting as shit. Figure out what it is you want to do. Reach out to some people. Find a new place to go. A new culture.
And people should be sharing your stuff. Like, that really is not that much to ask for either. And if people try to say that they're too busy or they have too much going on or kids or whatever, no, everybody's on their phone. Everybody has time to share. It literally takes a second.
If you're having a party and it's like, yo, I need everyone to wear ugly sweaters, and someone's like, I couldn't find an ugly sweater, bro, and I had to pay rent.
We got Amazon.
Dude, then don't come. You know, like,
it's like value. Again, it goes back to setting your boundary and like valuing what you want out of a friendship, and like what you value and want is valid, and like you shouldn't have to dole down what you need in a friendship for like somebody else.
Especially because, you know, like, we're content creators, most of us, so it's like, if I'm having this ugly sweater party and I plan to make a video out of it or do something, or it's like, I don't need you and the one attire fucking it all up.
Yeah, and everybody, like, is struggling with money, and everybody's doing everything else, and it's like, as long as you're not asking for, like, crazy stuff, like a $500 dress or something stupid, but it's like, the bare minimum, like, a lot of people can't do the bare minimum, and it's really sad.
100%.
Especially, like, sharing stuff. It's like, dude, it's free, first off. Second of all, you're always on your phones. For you to say, like, you don't have time to do it is a lie, because I'm sure you spent time on Facebook scrolling.
I've had people randomly, like, unfollow me, and I've been, like, looking through, and I'm like, well, that person don't follow me no more. That's funny. And then they're like, sorry, I just didn't like to see your stuff all over my thing all the time. Like, you're always advertising. Like, I don't get tattoos.
Oh, advertising.
I don't get tattoos, and, like, I don't listen to rap. So, like, you know, like, everything you post is, like, tattoos and rap, and it's like, oh, okay, well, like, we were like super close. So like I figured,
really,
you know, like it wouldn't have bothered you that much, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like you make progression, or it's like I make posts about like, you know, working out and like mindset and this and that, and you're like, oh dude, I was just like kind of like, I didn't want to keep hearing the so positive all the time, bro. It was just like annoying.
It's like, who doesn't want to hear positive every time? Like that just makes they think you're being fake or something.
Right, and those are the kind of people that I'm like talking about, like legit, where it's like, yo, like what are you talking about, dude? Like I'm just happy and being like positive, and like I was wondering why I didn't like hear from somebody
because they're not happy. They're
like,
not happy with their life. That's why, and they're feeling comfortable that you're happy and enjoying life. So. Right.
Yeah. So it's like, well, that's kind of odd.
And it's not cool to be successful until you're like, bloom
like,
level. Then
like,
it's like, oh, look how much you struggled. It was
there's
positive.
This level. It's like, hey, I want to do something with my life, right? And then it's like, fuck you. Nope. Fuck you. And then it's like,
I always believed in you.
Hey,
I always knew you could do it.
Yeah, come on, bro.
I followed you the whole time.
Come on, bro.
And supported you. And it's like, I hate it when they're like, I supported you, but you literally never see it. And you're like, if you're just like telling people you support me, like, thank you, but how do I believe that when you're tripping out over
Here's
stupid
what's crazy,
shit?
like, most people don't realize this, but like, on the come up, bro, yo, I package all of y'all's packages, you know? I know who's buying stuff. I know who's ordering things as gifts for other people as a gesture. I know who's like sharing all my shit. Like I see it. I go through my analytics. I run my business. I pay for ads. I do all kinds of stuff. Like I see all these things, as most people. So it's like, you know, be real about that shit, bro. Like support your friends, support yourself. Don't count on nobody. Don't count on none of that shit. Just continuously push it so much that they stop following you because they don't want to see it no more. And let them weed themselves out. Don't feel hurt and offended by it. Stay positive.
Because 95% of the time it's not you.
Yeah, 90%. Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're one of those people that like we're talking about that have a shitty mindset, and you're like, and then you think you're the person that's having a good mindset, and it's like, no, like, you know who you really are. Like, if you're really a good person and you share and you don't start drama or gossip or do all of that, then, like, you're the person on the right.
Right, hands down, yeah. And like, you know,
and don't assume somebody, like you said, has all this money or, like, has all this time to do whatever and doesn't have time for you until you, like, ask them. Don't just assume and freak out on people. It's so stupid. Like, get all your facts straight, you know?
Because you know, some of us are busy as heck, man. Like I mean, you deserve 48 hours and back and forth, music, tattoos, you know.
On like the coast of New Hampshire.
Yeah, we come back home.
On the very edge by the ocean.
We go shoot music videos with people that are flying from Canada. We go back and forth. We're, you know, back down to Daytona, turn around, come back, run and operate a shop, back and forth. So it's like, we get extremely busy. And that busy life, like, comes, like, I'm moving for work. Most of this stuff isn't even, like, when I'm traveling like and doing things, it's not even always fun. Like, it's fun because my life is fun. I enjoy it.
Leisure vacation.
Yeah, it's not leisure vacation. It's not like, oh, I'm just out blowing money. It's like everything I'm doing is investments. These are all work things. These are all things to go get paid, to go do my art, to do my shows. And it's all paid or paid for, or like all work, you know? So a lot of people misconstrue that with like, oh, he's just out here blowing money, look at him, he doesn't do this, but he wants it, like...
And most of the time when you're running business and you're going on these business trips, you have way more bills. Like, yeah, you might be making money, but people don't understand how many bills you have to pay. Like, everybody has bills, so... Like, you always say, don't count people's pockets.
Yeah,
you know?
don't count the pockets, man. Like,
count the bills.
I know, yeah, count the bills. I know a lot of people that are like, oh man, you make all this money, you do all this, and it's just like, dude, like, don't.
Yeah, you got license, insurance, you have supplies,
and I do all my shit like legit. Like, I don't fucking just get one thing and don't get the rest of the permits. Like, I go and I get everything I'm supposed to because I'm terrified of anything like that. So it's like, I handle all my business legit. There is so much bills that come stacking up with it. So like, a lot of my expenses as far as traveling and stuff is all for like work expense, you know. It's most of the time not vacation. So
you want to give a shout out to everybody up north that we saw,
man,
and then
shout
we'll
out
close
to
it
all
up?
the homies. I don't know who's all on here watching, but mad shout outs to the homie Zach, to Sean, Mira, Soldani's mom,
And Soldani.
and biggest shout out to Soldani. I wasn't done.
Saldini.
So, Saldini, my man.
Yeah, we'll put their socials and stuff right in the description.
Yeah, he's got a dope video that they did from the bash. They got some content from that weekend. We're also making a little vlog that we'll post down in here.
Yeah, on YouTube we'll do a vlog, and then on Instagram, if you go on... Should we post on J-Rock or Oxford Ink?
We'll probably post it on both.
Both,
so
yeah. Oxford Ink Tattoo or J-Rock the Gypsy. We'll post that on there because the Instagram one's going to be like a quick one.
Probably like a short.
Yeah, and then the YouTube is going, it's reels on Instagram. On YouTube, it's going to be like a longer form vlog, but I'm going to try to edit that this week. We do have on Instagram coming up a reel of the My Name is Junk in the Kasky music video shoot. So
some backs
because their song's coming out February 17th.
Yeah, their song's coming out the February 17th. I have a new track coming out February 17th.
What's it called?
Chris Calico. It's called Caught Up, featuring Chris Calico, produced by Wishmaster and Tasty Beats.
And you can find all that on
all those
platforms.
Be on all platforms. Yeah, it'll be on iTunes, Apple, Spotify, all your streaming platforms, YouTube. And you can also, if you like, use it as a song, use it as a reel, post that bad boy.
And tag him in it.
Tag me in it. I'll repost it. I'll reshare it. We'll have some new merch dropping too for those releases. We got a couple more releases coming up.
Yeah, we need to make some cool merch for
the
Chris
coming out at the end of
Calico
February, and then we have another one dropping too. So we have quite a bit.
Yeah, and then I have my merch dropping in March.
New merch
for
dropping
women.
In March for women's athletic wear dropping.
Black
for
and baby blue for spring.
Baby blue crop tops.
They're so comfy.
Leggings. And we will have some new shirts coming in and probably some other new items on the website. So make sure you guys go check some of that. Cop something from shoptheox.com. Check out Oxford Ink Tattoo on the website or on Instagram. We have some new events coming up and we will be posting all kinds of new content. So until next time, deuces.